morning, of course, Emma, because Emma reminded me. He has been my guardian angel today. I'm going into work late, so I had to do this from the parking. Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about the budget and what you should expect at the current market prices. Yeah, the budget and what you should expect. Budget and what you should expect. Ragnar was number one, definitely. Good morning, Safina. How are you? I hope you guys are doing well. I am doing well. This thing is losing focus today. I don't know why. Morning, Vincent. Good morning, Chris Da Vinci. I hope you guys are doing well. Today is day number 9 of the month of February. You know, we all need reminding once in a while, even myself, that okay, guy, omwaka gugenda wagamba kukola. Actually, after this podcast, I'm going to check on my list of the things I set out to do, and what we going to say. Okay, you guys, my engine is actually okay. When we watched the Katimba, the engine went silent again, and it has not made the noise again. So she takes the engine here today. Which is why you guys, when you're driving, you need to be very vigilant. Something as simple as that can actually spoil your engine. Kati nze nadde simanyi nti akatimba kasobola okuzibikira and then it almost breaks your engine down. So, but I think we did it fast. We were fast with it because another one day and the engine would have probably blown because it wasn't going to be getting enough oil. But nonetheless, I'm going to be changing the engine quite soon. For another like 20 years because when I put that new engine, it will be like it will be like I am getting I'm doing a Dubai import. So ngenda kubanga avuge moroka ya bond. So that is what happened. Moroka yange yazzewo pya. But you know, it's a thing of you having to be vigilant enough, and you know that emoroka bwekola sound bweti teba normal, bwekola sound bweti teba normal. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So don't ever forget that. So I'm going to briefly be going through. I'm going to do a short broadcast today because I have to do some things at a Sinavawaka. So it's usually easier to do a long live broadcast when I don't know, it keeps losing focus. It's over the colors are too many. It's easier for me to do long broadcasts when I'm driving to work than it is when I'm parked here in the morning or when I'm parked somewhere in the morning. So I want to make sure that we understand each other about which issues you should expect in any sort of car that you're going to buy in Uganda. Forget about the cars you're going to buy from the bond. Those ones may be an exception. But if you're going to be buying a car that has been driven on Ugandan roads at any day, you should be expecting these issues. okay. Ne bw'oba ogiguze million 2 ne bw'oba ogiguze million 25, because a car you buy at 25 million means it was probably 30 or 45 in the bond. A car you buy at 20 million probably was 30 in the bond, and you're buying it when it has been driven for some time. A car you're buying at 15 was probably 25 in the bond, and someone has driven it for some days, and then after that. So, good morning, Salmin. It's very important for you to understand so that Togura motor and you'll be surprised by what issues you're going to get in that car. Okay, and that's before we go and try to look at the budget right now, which budget you should have for which car. So normally, and this doesn't matter what budget. Good morning, Muhammad, because every car on the Ugandan roads faces these issues, and it doesn't matter which brand it is. It can be an Audi, it can be a Volkswagen, it can be a Mercedes Benz, it can be a Ford, it can be a Suzuki, it can be Lexus, it could be whichever car. Now, I'm not saying it's a must that these issues will be there. There are chances that you won't find these issues, but trust me, majority of the time you'll find these issues and you'll have to fix them when you buy this car. Okay, the number one issue, okay, this is a must. Even if you bought a car and someone told you I've just done this, you need to do it. Service. Now, when I talk about service, I want you to think about a comprehensive service. When you buy a car, it has become yours. You need to put in some money. Service, this is what you're going to do when you buy a car in Uganda. Uganda. Apart from the CVT cars, you're going to have to change the hydraulic oil of the gearbox. Okay, open the cranks down there. Bajeya katimba. Now I'm going to actually be very serious with this with everyone we buy a car for. Jeya katimba bakoze. Okay, they should wash it. Normally they first wash it with water, then they wash it with petrol, and then they hang it out to dry, and then they put it back. Okay, why are you doing this? Is because someone might have bought a car and never done service for the gearbox. Okay, and if they have never done service for the gearbox, chances are high that the hydraulic has formed, they've been made down there, or probably there have been some dirt in there, and your gearbox could die in a very short time if you don't actually take care of it. Okay, so wash the gearbox katimba, then the gearbox oil sieve, whatever they call it. I think JK would know the right term. Akakatimba ka gearbox. They will open the cranks, basumuleya katimba bakoze. This is the first time when you buy the car, the very first day, go and do it. Then the entire hydraulic will come out, then batekemu hydraulic ompya. Do this only for the normal gearboxes. Don't do it for the CVT gearboxes. Good morning, Arthur. We were traveling and passed through some flooded area, but since then my car sound changed, especially when accelerating. What could it be? It changed how? Etokotange chalani, because that happened to my car. We etokotange chalani. You might first check is the first thing you need to check is does the car have oil? Does the engine have oil? Because that's the first thing you should check. Does the engine have oil? Okay, and you have to look at the clock. Does the engine oil light go off? Starters. Okay. Then there are chances that a motor ye pipirabu pipis nga waise mazzi, and then some parts that are not supposed to have water got water. Cutting a pipirabu pipis when you accelerate. There are chances that a pipirabu pipis amazzi ago bannange, you should try as much as possible. Whenever you're driving and you find water, wait for other cars to pass, and then you see which spots don't have a lot of water, and then you should use only those spots. Me, I'm very careful about water because because of water. I saw a person going through, and then I decided, okay, this person has gone through, my Primo can go through. Mama nyabo, I went through the water and my car stopped. Kumbe, the oxygen sensor of where when I eat a mazzi ne bugatta. I saw smoke coming out of the dashboard. That night nasura kukubo because I could not leave my Primo there. You know how Primos are hot cakes. So I slept in my car that day. I was actually still constructing here in Matuga. And nasura kukubo with a guy. From that time amazing at nnyo. So whenever I find a flooded area, I either find another route if it's very flooded, or I wait to see where border guys pass. And then I see Mepida Jawe how deep they are in water, and then I pass the spot with the least amount of water. But Solomon, it could be that a Moroke PPZ, and you just need to sort out, because if there are sensors that if that sensor gets water in it, a Moroke PPida, okay? And I don't know, did you check the air cleaner that the air cleaner did not get water? Check that, because normally they actually tell you that if you're going to go through deep water, take the air cleaner out so that the air cleaner doesn't get water, okay? And then go through the water. After I've gone through the water, put back the air cleaner. Did the air cleaner get any water? Because weba air cleaner yafunye amazi, chances are high na gagenze kone mu engine, okay? You check that. And when did you go through the water? Was it yesterday? Because immediately when your engine changes sound, you need to find a nearby garage and pray to God that they know what they are talking about. You're just looking for an analysis. You can pay them like a 5K, 10K for them to tell you what they think is wrong. Or what I normally do is I call my mechanic. Why? You get. And the mechanic I gave you, Solomon, is actually good. So probably you can call him or Abe, tell him what exactly it's doing. Then if you're not in Kampala. But if you're in Kampala, you can call him a Jewoli. Don't drive that car. Mukubira Jewoli ajirabirawo. Even if you're not in Kampala, sometimes it's better to spend money on transport than to spend money on a new engine. Kati walaba nganze, my engine changed the sound and I acted fast. Now my engine is saved. Right? So sometimes it's better for you to spend money on transport for your mechanic ategeere motoka yo okitegeera, because mechanic ateba okugitetenkanya. I told you about the Ipsum I bought at 3 million. Oli yagigula in Busia, it was moving properly. Bwatuuka wano ne bagyesumuluza mubatereza ate teyabalema. And that's how they managed to sell it to me at 3 million. And for me, when they gave it to me at 3 million the next day, it was working. Guy na jana ubi moroka yange. Anyway, yeah. So Solomon, you could do that. It's check the air cleaner against mumazi. Check which spots actually got water. That's the first thing you should do when you go through water. Which spots have gotten water? Then you could start from there to diagnose the problem. Because it's definitely the water that brought about that whatever sound that means. Yeah, so I was still talking about sound. When you buy a car in Uganda, a used car, by the way, it's very simple for you to say, solimba nzenga najigula teina buzibu. Eyange njivuze emyaka ebiri nga teina buzibu. Okitegeera nga teina buzibu. But in the second year, at a time when I'm even planning to change the engine, neetokota bubi. Kumba katimba kazibikidde. It's something as simple as that. If I had washed that katimba when I had the day I bought this car, I wouldn't have problems. So, nkugambe ekya gearbox, get the car sieve out, wash it properly, okay? Then put it back, then put new hydraulic oil. Go to the engine, do the same. Pour all the oil, get still the katimba, wash it properly and thoroughly, put it back, put new engine oil. Do service, like put a new oil filter and all. Check the plugs. Now I'm talking about the service that I can call comprehensive. Check the plugs. If they are old, put new plugs. Change the air cleaner. Change the cabin air filter if your car works AC anyway. Change the cabin air filter. Then check those coils. The coils are what help the plugs work. Deliver power. Check the coils, all the wires, all the distributor to make sure that there are no sparks that actually escape. Okay? Check the wiring. Emoroka esobola okukwata omuliro nga tomanyi lwaki ekwata omuliro. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. Naye ng'ebyo ebintu ebimu ku byewagira byewa ignoring. Check the battery. Okay? To make sure that the battery is fastened properly in place. Because battery nayo esobola okwokya emmoroka. The positive terminal touches the body. Ontegeera kye nkugamba. Because now you're fixing a car that you're going to drive yourself. ogijje kwoli probably abadde yagikowa n'ogikowa nga takyayagala givuga takyagifaako. You have serviced the gearbox, you have serviced the engine, you have worked on the plugs, you have changed the air cleaner, you have worked. Then the next thing you need to check the fuel pressure olaba fuel pump ekola bulungi. If you can't change the fuel filter, ka filter kaba katono bwe kati nzo kagula omutwalo nga gumu oba ebiri, put it there because this keeps your engine healthy. It filters the fuel. Because oli bwaba badde anywa bifuta bichafu kitegeeza ka filter ako kaba kachafu. Then change it. And then for you, start taking some good fuel. I normally recommend Shell or Total. And for the engine oil, now I recommend Total. So change the fuel filter as well. Then check the brakes. That's very important. The brakes. Abantu abasinga bavuga emmotoka ezitasiba. And I'll tell you this because even my mechanic, nyine motoka lweba tesiba yenga alowooza esiba. Mwana ekyusa brakes ezo. For me, the one thing on my car that works perfectly always is the brakes. Nali nyingidde benzi y'omusajja n'ensiba emmotoka yange n'esira pu. Why? Because I work on my brakes. Sizizanyiramu at any moment. Okay? You have worked on the engine, you have worked on the gearbox, you have worked on the air cleaning system, the spark system, you have worked on the fuel system. Bubake beda pressure ngeri, okay, fuel pump jesonyo, but change the fuel filter. Okay? Okay, beda kawiring ya wakatono tunakoma sa mu engine bena kokali okay. Check the lights to make sure that they light the right way. Abantu amba vuge motoka nga namatata kola nga tebavuga kiro. Okitegeera. The other thing you should do, brakes to gambe zikebereko maso ne mabega bwe ziba ziweddeko banga zikendedde, change them because you're starting your car. Okitegeera ogitandika okugivuga nga yo. Now someone is going to tell me ate kati nguze motoka ate nsookere mu garage. Yes. Would you prefer that you buy your car and then you knock someone in the next week? Definitely not. One way for you to avoid having these things or having your engine fail, having your gearbox fail in the next 1 week, is for you to actually service these things. Brakes, change the brakes. Good morning, Abe. Good morning, Paul. Good morning, Mostalvo Shias. You get, check those things. Katumazo kora ku gearbox, we have worked on the engine, we have worked on the brakes, we have worked on the fuel system. Trust me, now the moving is okay. Now we want to work on the things a bit fuller the car to be comfortable. Okay, this is the suspension system. This is for any car that you have bought in Uganda. Let's say I'm going to talk about 20 million and below. 20 million and below, because trust me, I've seen cars that are 20 million ngazidi worse than the cars that are 10 million. So we go to the suspension system. Suspension system will you treat a suspension plate. The suspension plate esibako the body, the frame. Okay? Nesibako the shocks. Nesibako ukono. Okitegeera. Ne suspending an engine oba ne gearbox. Okay? Nesibako ne steering rack. So that suspension plate is something that the suspension plates, something that looks like chiringa triangle. I don't know if you guys can see that. Yeah, it looks like a triangle. It has a very big bush somewhere, and then it has like a small bush here and like a small bush here. So that's a suspension plate. Normally, you don't have to buy a new suspension plate. They replace the bushes. The first big bush is about 40 to 50,000. Then the other small bushes are about 20 to 30, depending on where you buy. So there are two on left and right. So they take those out. Then nebajaino bukono, what they call bukono. Now the bukono go into the steering rack. Good morning, Patrick. The bukono go into the steering rack. Now those ones I normally recommend that you buy new ones when it's your car. But your mechanic might tell you no, you don't have to buy others to get it when you game. Now those bukono, check them to see. Okay, you have changed the suspension. Then there are Zs. The Zs also check them to see if they're still good. So you check to make sure that they are. No, Mr. Lucius, that's different. The suspension plate is down. I'm going to talk about the mountings. So the bokono, then you check the ball joints as well to make sure that, because if you carry that wow. Then let them check the steering rack, especially for cars like mine that are newer, that don't have uh, hydraulic based steering racks. Banangi steering in Italy hydraulic bakkerere. They can be repaired, but now I'm actually thinking that they won't be repaired to perfection because yangi bajikola muna yitan ezemo tan kokubamu. Then if your suspension system, or you check even the shock absorbers to make sure they are good. If you can buy the shock absorbers, please buy them. Shocks like ezange za mitwaro kumi buli emu. Okitegeera. Yeah, ziba za ngula za box. Don't buy babagamba simanyi ogule Japan, gula shocks empia za box. You put mass of mazeewo if you work on those things. Wapa wanyiridde. Chowobuza chiri kimu mountings. What were the engine mountings? There are two. Then there is a gearbox mounting as well. Nakati izo mountings ezebbeyi za mitwalo nga 10 oba 15 buli emu. Okitegeera. Now, this seems like it's expensive, but trust me, if you buy a used car on Ugandan roads, you're going to buy all these things at least once. Okitegeera. Kati nkugamba obikebere because ojja bisanga olumu nga biramu. Okitegeera ojja bisanga olumu nga biramu. Olumu ojja bisanga onyiga mu bunyizi. Now, kati bw'omala okukyusa mountings bichi suspension awo maaso oba omazeewo. Now, take the car for wheel alignment. Baja aligning ebenga terya mipiira. Okay? Now, the suspension system ojimaze, mountings ozikyusizza. Okay? Okoze ku engine, you have worked on the gearbox. Okay? You have changed the shocks if they need changing. Okay? You have worked on all those things. Now, if you need to raise your car, they will put spacers as well. So, the front is almost done. Now, the other thing that I want you to understand, sometimes the car makes noises, like my car, but these are the things that I need you to take note of. The bumpers, but remember, the vibrations go all through the car. The bumpers, the matamas, okay, those side things. The matama those things can actually make noise. If you want to make to see that get someone over go weekend because I have all the tools I need. So obisumulako no bizeino of motoka no raba. Then no kakasanti nebi bipapula papule bibera mu wansi we moroke na bibi kubakerere. So you can take them off. Nozako chimu kuchimunga bwovugamu. Okitegeera. Now I'm telling you this because you guys, you love cars. Some things tulina okuyiga okubyekolera. Okitegeera. Tulina okuyiga obyekolera. Kati ogenda omwana akuliyeko omutwalo okusibira bumper yokugisiba, it's common sense by the way. Kirimu ne experience but it's mostly common sense. Okumanya ati kakati wano wali loose can take one because these guys abakuba rivets and those guys abagolole in Uganda. Tebabisoma. Akwesa common sense naga kati okusiba wano kantekewa akawaya ntekewa akasumali ngusike. Okitegeera ettama likubagana kantekemu omusumali ngusike. You get some of these things are common sense, and you guys abali wano muina all the common sense in the world, especially kati abakazi ayinza obutasobola because birimu okusikana amanyi naye mu abasajja musobola obisobola. So actually Chris Da Vinci bomperizo omwana wali bitire ko mulimu. Man, mpeza na text message tulabe. Wali mpeza mwana wa revit omulungi. Inabi njagala okukubira mu revit. So, ebyo ebintu byo masa awo bikubagana. So when you buy your car, kona ko, okoneko, olabe kye kikubagana, bobo okyali mu garage ofuna omwana omweye ttaana awo asibe kusibeko byasiba. You get what I'm saying? So maso tuba tumaze yawo. Then check the exhaust pipe for any holes. Because of obutulituli obera ku exhaust, they get the car to consume a lot of fuel. Now I'm talking about you buying a used car in Uganda. Oguze moroka yo million 5, million 10, million 15. These are things you need to check. Now, I'm actually preparing your mind. If you come to buy a car with me, these things I normally tell you. Okay? Na yo bwe mbasi kyogenda nga kwa no ku live oyinza ogamba atha kati ebito bitugamba ku live ato bingambira wano nganzizo gule moroka. Okitegeera. Sunday video was so massive really. I download and watch on duty. Amina, Paul. Thank you. You get it. Good morning, Isaac. So, I want you to understand that these are issues you're going to get with your car as long as you're buying a used car. Oraba na abagule empya na borumba bisanga. You get. So, we have talked about the brakes. We have talked about the mountings. We have talked about the suspension system. okay, kati n'emabega naye waliyo suspension system yaayo, waliyo naye obukono bwayo mu mmotoka ezimu actually nazo bazikola wheel alignment, the 4-wheel drive cars. This is why we discourage 4-wheel drive cars. It's because olaba nga bw'obikoze mu maaso, emmotoka eya 4-wheel n'emabega ogenda bikola erina nayo suspension plate erina ki, naye emmotoka eza 2-wheel ojja sanga nga you're going to only replace the shock absorbers. You get what I'm saying? Shock absorbers waliyo obuntuntu obwetagamu bushes naye ezo zirwawo okufa, but you can also look behind abede babikebera because ebyo nabyo bw'obikola maani emmotoka oba ogizizza bupya, okitegeera. So suspension plate tujogeddeko, nkugambe kebera ne exhaust system. Now do these things whether you buy a car with me or not. Get these things checked out because it's your car. And by the way, you need to understand that exhaust system bweba ngeriko ekitu esobola n'okwokya emmotoka. Exhaust pipe ngeriko ekitu esobola n'okwokya emmotoka, because remember most of you are buying petrol based cars. Exhaust system eyo bwebako ekitu esobola okufulumya omuliro, because omuliro guva eno emabega ne guyita mu exhaust, guyina kugenda paka eri emabega. Kati bwe kuba tegenda paka eri emabega nga guli awo mu makkati, jjukira ne tanka eri awo mu makkati waliwo n'obuwayawaya, kati omuliro gusobola okusparkinga waya ne zigatta emmotoka n'ekuggyako. You get what I'm saying? Then ekirala magambe, also check the wiring, the electronics. Now the electronics zikola ebintu bingi. First of all, the radio, the speakers, the windows to go up and down, buno obutaala bw'omu cabin, zikola AC. You need to check the wires to make sure that tewali broken wires, and if there are any broken wires, find ways of actually working on those broken wires. Zitereere bazigatte baziteepinge. Emmotoka ne bweba mpya bannanga abantu bamodifying emmotoka, you'll be surprised, especially if you buy a car that has been where the engine has been changed. Okuze Mercedes Benz mulimu engine ya kibina, sibanja oguze X-Trail mulimu engine ya Kruger. Ebyo ebintu check the wiring to make sure that it's on point, because emmotoka ejja kujjako, emmotoka esobola okukwata omuliro, okitegeera. You need to make sure that then waliwo emmotoka ezirina bufuse obuliko obuwaya. If you can, tell your mechanic to bring all those fuses, replacement ones, or take them fuse entuufu, because the work of those fuses is to break the circuit in case there is a short circuit. Ezivaako naye bwe zibaako ziriko obuwaya, abaana abamu aba wiring bateekako too many wires that even when there is a short circuit they will not break, so it means it will stay on, the circuit will stay on until the car burns down, and you don't want that. Yeah, so the other issue that we are faced normally is that you'll find you buy a car and it has a cracked windscreen. Now a cracked windscreen is an issue with traffic police. Kati cracked windscreen normally ya mitwalo 225, tesita kusukka 25, even with the big cars like the Harrier abira mitwalo nga 225, kitegeera. So check the windscreen olabe that it has, and sometimes windscreen esobola okuba nga teri mu crack naye ng'etonnya nga yatta. And this has nothing to do with emmotoka bw'eba erudde ku kkubo lya Uganda nga yalwa ne Japan, chances are high that ekyo kigambo kye bakozesa kikaddiwa ne kita. So you check n'ey'emabega nayo gikebere, because eyange ey'emabega erina we yali etonnya, tikyali nti the condition is bad, kigambo kitabuti, and they just have to put new gum bagizeemu. Yeah. Then most of these radios that you're going to buy, when someone is going to sell their car, they take out the good radio and they put a poor radio. Ekyobeera nga okimanyi. So you may check to see if the radio works for you, and probably you want to buy a screen radio and all that. Then of course the AC. Do you want? Are you the kind of person that wants AC? I have a very good AC repairman. He ate si mubbi akubuulira amazima nakugamba kino kyetaagisa, bw'oba onookikola nja gikola, oba tokikola ogira ogenda. You get what I'm saying? And yeah, and he's good. Abagayi ba essa abasinga tafaayo, takugamba na mazima, ye bw'ojjanga akulyako sente z'okurefiringa gas ng'ogenda, ng'okomawo ng'ali endala ng'ogenda, which is not the right way to do, okitegeera. So if you're the kind of person bw'oba teweetaaga AC, well and good. Yeah, bw'oba weetaaga AC, get it repaired. Then of course olina okutunula mu kisaawa wano. Sometimes ekisaawa kino speed meter ejja kuba tekola, olumu ojja kusanga nga fuel gauge doesn't work, olumu the temperature gauge doesn't work, olumu the tachometer doesn't work, olumu so many things that can go wrong with this clock, yet this is the clock that gives you warning in case something goes wrong. So you also need to make sure that everything in there works. Yeah. Then of course the windows in Zoget Deco, you need to make sure that the windows go up and down, because if they don't go up and down, that's also a DMC. Now the things I'm talking about, actually, for people that want to buy cars for Uber, make sure all these things work, because when you go for inspection, they're going to look at them. Yeah. Then, of course, there's something that I don't want us to ignore. You'll need to wash the car. Most people don't wash the cars. Of course, ngafe twagula space yeri je twagula, it was very clean. Ate twakisanga na ku washing bay ngoli agirese bajoze. So it was pretty clean. But if you buy a car from someone ngabadde agivuga BBA, you'll find that you need to actually wash it. Sometimes you'll need to even put seat covers. Then the other issue that I've seen with most cars, actually, neze bay, neze million abiri, carpets are not there. They take their carpets out to put them in their next car. So you need to buy carpets. For normal cars like mine, 4-seaters, the carpets are normally 40,000. For cars that need a very long carpet behind gas pass, you'll probably buy them 60 or 70,000. Then, last but not least, tires. Emotoka toyina motoka jogenda gulanga etambudde ku kubo lya Uganda ng'erina emipiira emiramu. Ne bwe bakugamba nti ojja givuga giba mikadde. So please take note, you're going to buy new tires for all cars that are used in Uganda. Ogenda kugula emipiira emipya oba oyagala oba toyagala. But don't forget, before you buy new tires, ekirungi nti bw'ogenda ku like places like City Oil, when you buy new tires, you have to pay for wheel alignment so that ate emipiira tejeerya. But before you put new tires, so kokole suspension system nga bwe nkugambye. Oleme kuteekako omupiira mupya ng'oyozozza mu ttaka. Okitegeera. So, but for all these things, let me try to go through the budget, because our title today is the budget. Suspension system, sengo osanga ebintu ebyo nga bifu esobola okulyako emiliyoni. The suspension system alone. Shock says emitwalo 10 gye mitwalo 4. Okay? Now, mitwalo 10 nze nkugambe ebbeeyi yange gye ngula ebintu nze nga Arthur. Kati ojja kusanga shock z'omu maaso basobola oziguza 25 n'ez'emabega 20 gye mitwalo 5. Nze spending ana because nze neeyiribira ebintu byange. Service, olinga bwe nkugambye, the engine service will be about 120, 150. The gearbox service also be 150 or 100, depending on what you use. Suspension, your suspension plate might take about 30, 20, that's 60, 80, 100, 140, around 140. Which take it. Yeah. Then bukonoko nawo balawe emitwalo nga. So basically, bali emitwalo suspension negibayire million ngemu n'ekitundu. Okugikola ogizze bupya mabega ne maaso million ngemu n'ekitundu. Emipiira, if it's a small car like mine, bali emitwalo nga 8. Now, the cost goes up because if your car has tire size 15, then definitely the cost is going to go up. But size 14, normally 800,000 should be enough. Of course, the brakes, 50,000 in front, 50,000 behind. That's 100,000. Okay, then we're going to brake fluid dawo, kamutwalo nga gumu n'ekitundu. Yakatawa suspension tugimaze. Air cleaner is normally 35,000. Cabin air filter is normally 35,000. Wiring ejamwa emitwalo ng'etaano okuterezaamu awo obuntu. If you're using my mechanic, he's an all-rounder. Nga bwe mbyogedde byonna asobola obikola ready agikuteeramu biki. Carpets za mitwalo, nkugambye wano emitwalo, ezange nzigula emitwalo 4, eziri ne nkugambye emitwalo nga 7. And then if you're going to wash the car, gibayire emitwalo nga 3 to wash it here in the cabin. SC, if it has no problem, ajja kujjako emitwalo 8 to refill the SC and all that. Radio, you can buy the radio at about 300,000. I think basically that's it. Then mountings, mitwalo 10, depending on which one is wrong, is dead. Yeah. I think basically that's it for in case you need to repair, you need to do some repairs on your car. And remember, in emotoka gy'okola yo si yange. Okitegeera. So when I tell you to do these things, and one thing you need to understand is that, especially if you go to these bonds, you'd rather buy a car from a person. Like you see how we bought this Spacio. But bond yo bwate bo babba na mwebiramu. Olaba nono gwe twagulako Spacio ejjamu ebi carpet. n'abitwala n'ateekamu ebikapeti ebivunduvundu. So Ernest has to buy carpets. Okitegeera. Of course, Ernest had to change brakes, the front brakes. He did service of the engine. I don't know baba katimba bakoza, but if Ernest you're watching and they did not watch the katimba, dayo bakoza nze kade kagenda okuta engine yange boze n'akatimba ka gearbox. He did the suspension, the front suspension, the wheel alignment. So it's quite safe. It's quite safe. So briefly, let me just go through the you need a budget of about 2 million to make your car almost new. 2 million. Okitegeera naye ngezo sente sikubalidde na labor. Okitegeera labor you have to talk nkubalidde ebintu byogenda okugula. Okitegeera oguze radio yo amitwalo ga 3 ogitaddemu ey'omulembe probably otaddeyo woofer. Okitegeera batereezaamu ka wiring bakukoledde AC suspension ogikoze otaddemu emipiira probably oguzeyo emipiira ng'ebiri. But you don't have to do these things at once. This you will do nagambe emmotoka bw'ogigula givuga emyezi emeka. Chobo soko kula engine ne gearbox. If you service bikole. Vuge moroke emyezi emeka 3 months before you start doing anything else. And I'm telling you this because it's the right thing to do. Because after 3 months you'll realize that okay, chino chifu, chino chidamu, chino chifu, chino chidamu, chino chifu. You've also learned what your car does. So let me go through this. Now, I will not tell anyone that you can buy a car at 3 million anymore. The minimum budget you should have for a car should be 5 million. And 5 million ebyokuweronda bi vehicle. 5 million, these are the cars. Chibina, Chikumi, G-Touring. No more kachijempandise. Chikumi kumi. Atende chikumi kumi is rare. Chibina, Chikumi, G-Touring, Chikumi kumi, and those old cars, Chiyenje, Bichi, good morning, Abby. Wachitegeera those old cars zezigendayo. Ne Ipsam sagala ogibayire mu million 5 kati. Ipsam ya 5.56 million, 7 million. Okay? Nadia 7 million, 8 million, 9 million. Okay? Mark 2 6 million, 7 million, 8 million. Okay? Now 10 million. Ojja kubala Vitz, Corolla like mine. Primo, the old model, the RAV4, Vista. Then you can also get the G-Touring in perfect condition. You can get an Ipsum in perfect condition, which take it at million and other cars, Mark 2 Grand. Yeah. Then 15 million. I'm just going through briefly so that you have a brief idea. You can think about the Harrier, still the RAV4, now the new model, the Kluger, the Harrier, I'm talking about the old one, the Primo, the Spacio, okay, the Raum, new model, okay, kata 15 and above, otandika okuyingirako mu new models, okitegeera. Still the Vitz there, osobola okufunamu ne new model, okitegeera. Now 15 million, sagala otandika kwerona njagala UBB. Forget about number plates for now. Let's look at the condition of the car. Condition is very good. It's very important for you to note before you buy a car. Okitegeera. Yeah. Kati awo 20 million and above, bobo ina 20 million and above, episode mbadde nga nkugamba weza akasente ogende mu bond. It doesn't really make sense for you to spend 20 million on an old car. Okitegeera etambuddeko. Because you can get cars at 26, 27, okitegeera, 28, okitegeera. So normally that's what I tell you. Yeah, so basically that's what I had to say today. Those are the budgets you need to know, to have in mind. You can actually get a fielder. Na fielder ojja kufuna 2004, 2005, 20 million and below. Ojja kufuna 2004, 2000, ojja kufuna 2006. And 2006 bibisinga okulabika obulungi. Yeah. Naye emmotoka zonna zogenda okugula nga ziri used on Ugandan roads. Please note that you're going to do literally all the things that I've talked about. Okitegeera byonna ogenda kubikola. And in my experience, ne bw'otabikola in the first year or in the first 3 months, you're going to do those things because emmotoka ogigula ng'ebadde etambula ku luguudo lwa Uganda, probably the person gw'ogikuzeeko naye yakoma bikola last year. Okitegeera. So you need to make sure that you're going to do it. So if you're budgeting to buy a car, I want you to also budget for a tracking device. But guy, ekintu kino nkibagamba, simanyi lwaki mukizannyiramu. Your car is an asset. Emmotoka yo asset. Uganda wano emmotoka si luxury. Tetulina train system, tetulina bus system, okitegeera. Emmotoka yo asset yo. It helps you save money, it helps you make money, it helps you put you in a position where people can trust you with money. Your car is an asset. Protect it. Take a alarm. Take a tracking device. You don't have to buy these things from me, but put them there to protect your car. If you really love your car, you should do it. Let me go through the names, guys. I have to go. Of course, Ragnar today was number 1. Martha, Emma. Thank you, Emma, for always reminding me. Safina, Vincent, Krista Vinci, Salmin, Muhammad, Solomon. Solomon, I'm really sorry about what you're going through with your car. I wish you all the best. Call the mechanic olabe kyakugamba. Ayinza okuba epipira bupipizi nga amazzi oba gayingidde mu air cleaner oba nga gayingidde mu plugs and all. It might be as simple as that, because ipsam teziba nnyo na buzibu. Paul, Council, Mr. Lucius, Isaac, yeah, and Abby, thank you very much for being live. Even you guys are very Mukamori, I don't take this for granted. If you're watching this video later on than the 9th of February 2023, thank you for taking the time. Innocent, yeah, thank you for being live. Yeah, if you're watching this video later on in life, okay, if you've also downloaded it, I don't take you for granted. Abari Mukamori, I don't take you for granted. Don't forget, I sell tracking devices. I do pre-purchase inspection. If you recommend me for pre-purchase inspection, please make sure or clear with this person. Mubulire kyenkolera ddala aleme kunkubira nga ate ayagala nkola obwa broker. Okitegeera siweereza bifaananyi bya mmotoka because emmotoka simanyi gye ziri. Okitegeera, so saagala nkuweereza emmotoka so that you set your mind ogambe eno gyengendo because you might get to the car nga ate si nnungi and then you have to move around again. Okitegeera, my pre-purchase inspection service costs 400,000 only tujja ne makanika tukebera emmotoka n'ogenda n'emmotoka ennungi. Okitegeera, so that tebakubba. And service normally, I mean the transfer is done in that week. Transfer ya honest yaggwa dda, emmotoka eri mmannya ge kaakati n'abalala bonna betwagulira emmotoka kasitaba nga tagayadde emmotoka tujis transferring in that very week nedda mmannya ge. That's what we normally work on. So you guys, I wish you a very good day. Tomorrow, don't forget, it's Question Friday. If you have a burning question, you want some sort of advice, we have a community here of people that are very helpful. They will advise you to make sure that you experience basically in life and with cars. Come and ask a question about anything, business, life, cars, you get it? Ask questions about anything. Tomorrow we'll be doing that 7:15 again. I wish you a very good day. See you tomorrow. Ciao.